Saturday Night Live is probably the most stressful and competitive show on television. The Zelda series is doubtless among the most popular and enduring of all of Nintendo's game franchises. From the 1986 release of The Legend of Zelda to today's modern masterpieces, there are a grand total of 20 games and counting. Plus, there have been numerous remakes, spin-offs, and ports to other media. Nintendo has dipped back into that library with Link's Awakening, a new remake of the 1993 game of the same name adapted for the Nintendo Switch. Each week, the large cast and its writers welcome in a brand new host and create a 90-minute performance from scratch in just a few days, and then put the thing on live television. That's all tough as it is, and then there are the usual show business issues of clashing egos and divergent and incompatible artistic points of view to consider. And we say, new, because this isn't the game's first remake. That's a recipe for some workplace tension and nasty disagreements that would just wind up on the to-do list of a human resources representative if it were any other workplace. 5 years after its first release, Nintendo appended a DX to the title, gave it new coat of paint, and added some gameplay elements for the Game Boy Color. But it isn't, it's SNL, a storied television institution on the air for nearly 50 years with an audience of millions that longs to know just what goes on backstage at the very unique show. Thankfully, its cast members indulge themselves, and the fanbase, by dishing the dirt in interviews and books. The 2019 release is a modern reboot of the game, yet stays faithfully true to both the story as well as gameplay style. Link's Awakening. Then and now the original Link's Awakening was the first Zelda game released for Nintendo's Game Boy handheld console. The current remake is more or less the same game, but there are notable updates. SNL cast members hate each other from time to time, sometimes, and they're not even from the same eras of the show. Here are the biggest star-on-star feuds in SNL history. The most visible difference is, of course, the graphics, which show not only 3D objects but bright colors and shading. That we know about. Chevy Chase and Bill Murray got in an actual fight backstage at SNL. Chevy Chase and Bill Murray were among the earliest and most notable cast members of Saturday Night Live, but they weren't regulars together. According to Far Out, Chase left the series after about a year, and Murray was his replacement. Chase made his triumphant return to SNL as a guest host in 1978, coming in with what he called in the oral history, "Live from New York," an egocentric attitude, as well as an environment where ensemble player John Belushi allegedly had been spreading some pretty apocryphal stories about me. As a result, Chase clashed with multiple cast members, particularly Murray, who knew him from when they worked on the National Lampoon per Decider. After many nasty things were said, Murray told Chase, whose marriage was in a rocky place, "Go F*** your wife, she needs it." Chase retorted by commenting that Murray's scarred face looked like a place where Neil Armstrong could land, i.e., the crater-covered surface of the Moon. Despite this, the remake still retains the retro Zelda look and feel. The top-down gameplay, puzzles, and animations are similar to the original, only sharper, brighter and smoother. Moments before SNL went live on the air at 11:30 p.m., Chase cornered Murray in Belushi's dressing room and a physical fight broke out. Old-timers will miss the camera shop, but we now have the chamber dungeons, customizable areas that players can create from bits and pieces of the game to create new challenges. If you've played the game before, the learning curve will be minimal. If you haven't, you're in for a treat anyway. Introducing our hero, Link. For the uninitiated, Link, the hero of the skies, is the playable character in the game, indeed, in most Zelda games. "We both ended up hitting John by mistake," Chase said, as Belushi had to separate them. News of the fight entered SNL lore, and when Chase hosted the show again in 1980, he and Murray attempted to dispel the so-called rumors by performing "I Shot the Sheriff" together. Chevy Chase said awful things to Terry Sweeney. First season, SNL breakout star Chevy Chase left the show after slightly more than one season and very quickly started appearing in movies. He returned to the show to host 8 times, including once in 1985 when he openly and viciously antagonized multiple cast members. Chase approached Robert Downey Jr., son of indie filmmaker Robert Downey Sr., and said, "Didn't your father used to be a successful director? Whatever happened to him? Boy, he sure died, you know, he sure went to hell." Via, live from New York.
Usually clad in a green tunic with a buckled brown belt and a long green cap, which you may not see if he's facing forward, He is a member of the Elfin Hylian race, who are endowed with psychic and magical abilities. In addition, Link is a skilled swordsman. Random trivia. He's mostly left-handed, except sometimes he's not chosen to wield the Master Sword, a mythical weapon that helps him in his fight against evil beings. Link's awakening gets its name from the fact that it finds our hero shipwrecked, and he wakes up in a stranger's house on a mysterious island. Getting off the island turns out to be more complicated than getting there, as there is the small matter of rousing the slumbering windfish first. Downey Sr. But, as ever, there's a catch. The awakening at end of the previous game, A Link to the Past, Link sets out to explore the world in his boat. Was still alive, it's worth noting. He saved some truly audacious vitriol for Terry Sweeney, the first openly gay cast member in SNL history, according to The Advocate. In Live from New York, Sweeney recalled Chase approaching him with a repulsive idea. "I've got an idea for a sketch for you," Chase reportedly said. "How about we say you have AIDS and we weigh you every week?" Producers were so incensed by Chase's comments that they forced him to say sorry. After a storm leaves him shipwrecked, he washes up on the shores of Kahalant Island, in the village of Mabe. "He was really furious that he had to apologize to me," Sweeney said. Chevy Chase ranted about SNL and Pete Davidson responded in kind. The last time Chevy Chase showed his face at Saturday Night Live was a cameo in a March 2013 episode. That's more than a year before Pete Davidson joined the cast of the show, and even though their paths didn't cross, they still managed to forge a feud. In a September 2018 interview with The Washington Post, Chase profanely criticized the show that made him famous. "I had to watch a little of it, and I just couldn't believe it," Chase said, going to lament that a whole generation of heads laughs at the worst humor in the world. A few days after the Post article, Davidson was a guest on Howard Stern's satellite radio show, and the host asked him to respond. There, a local girl called Marin finds him unconscious on the sands and takes him home to recover. "He's a Davidson replied, via Entertainment Weekly. Chevy Chase. Once Link gets on his feet again, he takes his shield back from Marin's father and returns to the beach. Here, he is reunited with his magical sword, but he still has to figure out the details of how to get off the island, especially considering he no longer has a boat. This isn't the last he'll see of Marin or her father. A note, particularly for the Zelda faithful. Link's awakening is set entirely on Kahalant Island rather than the usual kingdom of Hyrule. Kaholant's dirty secret. Link meets the mysterious owl on the beach, who tells him that nobody leaves Kahalant Island without the blessings of its guardian angel, the Windfish. Unfortunately, said guardian lies slumbering inside a giant egg atop Mount Tamaranch. "I hate that dude." Davidson went on to explain his feelings, noting that Chase seemingly ruined a really big career and then it stopped because everybody realized he's a J******************. What really bugged him was how disrespectful Chase's comments were to SNL creator and producer Lorne Michaels. Eddie Murphy stayed away from SNL for years because of a David Spade joke. Eddie Murphy is arguably the most prominent star to ever have their career launched by Saturday Night Live. Thanks to his domination of the show in the early 1980s with bits like, "Mr. Needless to Say," "Waking It Isn't as straightforward as walking up there and prodding it with a stick," "Robinson's Neighborhood," "James Brown's Hot Top Party," and "White Like Me," the hilarious and charismatic young Murphy went on to star in mega hits like Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, and The Nutty Professor. And unlike most every other SNL cast member turned a list film actor, it wasn't until 2019 that Murphy returned to the show to host. The main reason for his absence, mid-90s SNL cast member David Spade. In a 1995 installment of his snarky talking head segment, Spade in America, Spade quipped over a photo of Murphy, star of back-to-back flops, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and Vampire in Brooklyn, "Look children, it's a falling star, make a wish." They said some things, Murphy told Rolling Stone in 2011 of Spade's cheap shot. "What really irritated me about it at the time was that it was a career shot." Norm Macdonald was rather nasty to Chris Kattan in the mid-90s. Saturday Night Live underwent a major cast overhaul, bringing in new talent like Will Ferrell, Molly Shannon, and Chris Kattan. A holdover from the old cast, Norm Macdonald, primarily the show's caustic, deadpan, Weekend Update, anchor. When Rolling Stone profiled the new SNL ensemble in 1997, Macdonald made a point of going after Catan, derisively questioning the Mango portrayer's sexuality, and apropos of nothing at that. I don't know, but to me he seems gay, Macdonald said. He claims he's not, but I've never seen, like, a guy who's not gay seems so gay. Macdonald also went on to say that he didn't think Catan was funny. What can I say? Never made me laugh. Catan initially brushed off his co-star's comments. Instead, Link must recover the 8 instruments of the sirens, guarded by evil creatures called nightmares and their minions, from all over the island. Owl directs Link to go north, to the mysterious forest, to receive further instructions about his quest. Norm gives me a hard time, Catan said, adding, if Norm says I'm gay, then put in that I say he's an asterisk 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 asterisk. In 1999, after Macdonald left SNL, and returned to host, Catan, still a cast member, did not appear in the episode. When he arrives at the forest, home to dark and dangerous foes, he learns about retrieving the Tail Key, which will lead him to the Tail Cave, a dungeon inside which the first instrument lies. They had a very acrimonious relationship, a show source told The Observer. Norm would rip Catan to his face. And for his part, Catan would reportedly pester and berate Macdonald just before he'd go on air. Will Ferrell ended his friendship with Chris Catan in the late 90s. Clueless director Amy Heckerling was in negotiations to helm A Night at the Roxbury, starring Chris Catan and Will Ferrell as those two odious dance club regulars who bob their heads to Hathaway's What is Love, and aggressively hit on uninterested women in a recurring Saturday Night Live sketch. From here on, the action-adventure part of the game really begins, as Link faces off against evil creatures that lie between him and his escape. Dungeons and nightmares. Each of the 8 instruments lies in dungeons strewn across the island, and within each dungeon Link must get rid of the boss monster, called a nightmare, and their dastardly minion monsters before he can get his hands on the prize. For each dungeon, a map and compass must be found first, both needed to pinpoint the position of the nightmares and the chests that contain crucial elements. In his memoir, Baby, Don't Hurt Me, via page 6, Catan claimed that SNL and A Night at the Roxbury producer Lorne Michaels was so desperate to sign Heckerling that he encouraged Catan to accept her romantic advances, which he had previously rejected. In addition, various keys to open doors and chests will need to be found as well. In the Tail Cave, for instance, Link fights a nightmare called Moldorm before he earns his reward, the Full Moon Cello. 1 down, 7 more to go, and in case you wondered, Tail Cave is quite easy and the dungeons get progressively more complicated and the puzzles harder to complete. Catan said that he did as Michaels had asked, and began an affair with Heckerling, who ultimately produced but did not direct A Night at the Roxbury. Once production on the movie was completed, Catan wrote that Ferrell didn't speak to him for months, then confronted him backstage at SNL. So I got all your messages, but I didn't call you back because I didn't want to talk to you, Catan recalled Ferrell saying. Apart from the main dungeons, there are 3 mini-dungeons to explore, and the bonus color dungeon that we'll talk about later. The long road to freedom. For most of the game, in dungeon after dungeon, Link is called upon to pit his wits against puzzles and his combat skills against evil creatures and their boss nightmares. Arguably, the most annoying nightmare is the clown-like genie in Bottle Grotto, the second dungeon, who taunts Link mercilessly and retreats into its bottle at the first sign of trouble. The blobby slime eye in the third dungeon is the slimiest one. Overall, the boss fights are relatively challenging, even though each one has a weakness. The other nightmares include anglerfish, slime eel, facade, evil eagle, and hothead. Apart from these boss monsters, there are other ghastly creatures, including the spike roller, a pink, cutesy creature that rolls a sharp, studded spike in Link's path each time he tries to get close. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm going to be professional and still work with you on the show, but that's it. Ferrell didn't explicitly state his reasons, but Catan understood that his co-star was disgusted by his strange affair with Heckerling. Tracy Morgan called out Chris Catan and Sherry O'Terry in 2009, years removed from Saturday Night Live, but starring on the backstage at an SNL-like show sitcom, 30 Rock. Tracy Morgan published his first book, I Am the New Black. He reflected on his time at SNL in the mid-90s and early 2000s and dished the dirt on which cast members he didn't like, Chris Catan and Sherry O'Terry. I had my finger on the pulse of urban comedy, but when I brought my act to SNL, Those M asterisk 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 just felt bad for me, Morgan wrote. In the final stages of the game, Link also must defeat the Shadow Nightmares, a horrifying amalgamation of various nightmares he has met in the past, in Koholint and elsewhere. Of course there's a prophecy in Link's Awakening. In true RPG tradition, storytelling is a pretty important element of the whole experience of Link's Awakening. All I have to say about that is, where's Chris Kattan now? Where's Sherry O'Terry now? That B asterisk 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 can't even get arrested. According to Gawker, when Morgan recorded the audiobook version of I Am the New Black, he elaborated and improvised on his SNL friends and enemies, noting that he considers Will Ferrell, Colin Quinn, and Molly Shannon his friends. Along with hacking down enemies and solving puzzles, conversations with NPCs, various, essential and voluntary, side quests, secrets, and other stories unravel the larger picture of the island. F asterisk 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 M. Morgan said about O'Terry and Kattan. Tracy Morgan hated Jimmy Fallon's constant crack-ups. Tracy Morgan was a cast member on Saturday Night Live, from 1996 to 2003, his tenure largely overlapping that of young comedian and impressionist Jimmy Fallon. While Fallon had some breakout recurring characters, host of the college dorm web series, Jarrett's Room, a Boston teen named Joey Mack, and former B.G. Barry Gibb as the host of a public affairs talk show, he's likely best and most remembered for breaking, or collapsing into giggles or hysterical laughter in one sketch after another. It can be argued that breaking ruins a sketch, and Morgan certainly thought that Fallon's behavior did just that. In a 2007 interview with Penthouse, via Page 6, Morgan suggested that Fallon would crack up on purpose to put the spotlight on himself, and also that he hated it. Laughing and all that dumb S asterisk 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 he used to do. He wouldn't mess with me because I didn't F asterisk 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 play that S asterisk asterisk asterisk, Morgan said. That's taking all the attention off of everybody else and putting it on you, like, oh, look at me, I'm the cute one. Morgan also pointed out that Fallon never laughed through sketches they appeared in together because Morgan told him not to do that S asterisk asterisk asterisk. This feud seems to have resolved, at least. Morgan was a guest on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon 11 times and has appeared on Fallon's The Tonight Show on 6 occasions. Julia Sweeney didn't mesh with the SNL Boys Club a few weeks after the end of the 1993-94 TV season, her fourth with the show. Julia Sweeney announced that she would not return to Saturday Night Live, according to the Chicago Tribune, where she was best known for playing the ambiguously gendered recurring character Pat Riley. Sweeney didn't originate all that many characters in part because the show was dominated at the time by the so-called bad boys of Saturday Night Live: Adam Sandler, David Spade, Chris Farley, Rob Schneider, and Chris Rock. Everybody says the show is a boys' club, right? Sweeney said. Well, it's everything you think it is, times 100. While she was fine at first appearing in sketches with those bad boys, she wanted to do relationship humor and her own material and didn't like being reduced to the straight man character over and over. The most astounding plot twist comes during Link's search for the sixth instrument in the Face Shrine. When he makes his way into the southern part of the Face Shrine, he finds a mural depicting the windfish and owl, with some lettering. It says, "To the finder, the Isle of Koholint is but an illusion. A scene on the lid of a sleeper's eye. Awake the dreamer, and Koholint will vanish much like a bubble on a needle." Translated to plain English, everything that has happened so far might just be a dream, and the island vanish if the windfish is awakened. Is this true, or is it a myth? A gathering of instruments. The bulk of the game is getting Link from dungeon to dungeon to gather the 8 instruments of the sirens. This is easier in the new game with the new map system that allows you to pin locations. The full list of instruments is the Full Moon Cello, Tail Cave Dungeon, Conch Horn, Bottle Grotto, Sea Lily's Bell, Key Cavern, Surf Harp, Angler's Tunnel, Wind Marimba, Catfish's Maw, Coral Triangle, Face Shrine, Organ of Evening Calm, Eagle's Tower, and Thunder Drum, Turtle Rock. Once he's gathered them all, Link is ready for the final hurdle at Mount Tamaranch, where the windfish's egg lies. They do a lot of 14-year-old boy humor. They just love fart jokes and vomit jokes, and they're very good at it, Sweeney explained. But a lot of it isn't really my kind of humor.
John Belushi didn't think women had a place in comedy. Even Jane Curtin in 2011. The Oprah Winfrey Show hosted a large group of Saturday Night Live all-stars, including Tina Fey, Dana Carvey, and Jane Curtin. When Winfrey asked about gender politics in the workplace, via Vulture, Curtin one of the original SNL, Not Ready for Primetime Players in 1975, and one of the first Weekend Update co-hosts described an atmosphere of sexism and hostility to women. According to Curtin, co-star John Belushi believed that women are just fundamentally not funny, adding that the late SNL star felt as though it was his duty to sabotage pieces that were written by women. Curtin reiterated her experiences with Belushi on Watch What Happens Live in 2018, explaining that the actor was among a group of men on the show who thought that women should not be a part of SNL. When host Andy Cohen asked if Belushi thought SNL standout Gilda Radner had comedy chops, she said that he did, but that he didn't classify her as a woman. She was Gilda. Dana Carvey resented Mike Myers? No way. Yes way. Dana Carvey was probably the biggest star on SNL in the late 1980s. What with his characters like the church lady, the choppin' broccoli guy, and an unhinged President George Bush. But before he heads there, he needs to make a detour back to Mabe, Marin's village, and stop at the library to read a book called The Dark Secrets and Mysteries of Kahalant, which provides him a message about the passageways of the egg. There are 3 versions of this message, which pop up randomly in different games. The end of Link's Awakening begins by singing to the windfish now. At some point in the course of the game, Link has taken time off from his adventures to romance Marin, who in turn has taught him the Ballad of the Windfish. This is the magical song that is said to awaken the windfish. When Mike Myers joined the show in 1989, he brought along a character he'd originated on Canadian television and recruited Carvey to play his sidekick. Together they made Comedy Magic, Wayne's World, a cable access show hosted by Wayne Campbell, Myers, and Garth Alger, Carvey. Finally, when Link stands before the egg and plays the ballad, the 8 instruments join him and play along, causing the egg to crack open and reveal the windfish? Oh no, not so fast, or so easy. The inside of the egg is a maze that Link has to navigate through first. The sketches performed so well that they spawned 2 movies. In 1997, Myers created another comedy movie franchise with Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. In the parody of 1960s British spy movies, Myers portrayed swinging, groovy, super spy Austin Powers as well as the villain, Dr. Evil, who spoke with a pronounced and exaggerated Canadian accent. Remember the stop at the library? That message he read in the book is going to come in handy now, he'd better have taken notes. According to Carvey on The Howard Stern Show, Myers' Dr. Evil voice was his take on Carvey's impersonation of their SNL boss, Lorne Michaels. He also allegedly took Dr. inside the egg maze. Link meets Shadow Nightmares, avatars of his past enemies, ending with the final enemy, Deathel. Does Link's Awakening have an anti-climax or not? After Deathel is dispatched, and this is no mean feat, Link plays The Ballad of the Windfish once more, and this time the creature wakes up. Evil's habit of raising a pinky to his lips from Carvey's Michael's impression. Lorne doesn't do that, but somehow it fit. As it does so, Kahalant Island starts to fade around Link, and the windfish tells him that it wasn't the only one asleep. Link is, too. The pinky thing I did. Carvey resented Myers for years, and the latter did admit to The Hollywood Reporter that the Dr. Evil voice is a little bit Lorne Michaels. There are no 2 ways about it. Carvey eventually let it go, never confronting Myers, but he talked about it to his therapist. Charles Rocket didn't care for Eddie Murphy. Saturday Night Live creator Lorne Michaels took what became a 5-year leave of absence from his show in the early 1980s, and NBC put associate producer Gene Dumanian in charge. And yes, even though it was all a dream, the memories will stay with him forever. Link wakes up, floating on a piece of driftwood, out in the sea. When Michaels left, so did the entire cast, many of them with SNL from its beginning, meaning Dumanian could hire a new roster of players per live from New York. According to Doug Hill and Jeffrey Weingrads Saturday Night, Dumanian was most excited about Charles Rocket and predicted he'd be the biggest star among the bunch, gushing to NBC executive Brandon Tartikoff that he struck her as a mixture of previous SNL stars Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. He looks up and above him, the windfish soars in the sky. When he tries to look around at where Kahalant Island should have been, he finds nothing there.
A former actual news reporter, his signature bit on SNL became The Rocket Report, a spoof of man-on-the-street interviews. But the breakout star of the early 80s, SNL, was not Charles Rocket, it was Eddie Murphy. Perhaps resentful of the success and popularity that came so easily to his co-star, who had joined the show at age 19, Rocket was openly scornful and dismissive of Murphy around the SNL offices. It seems like nobody appreciated Nora Dunn. Nora Dunn and Victoria Jackson were among the small group of women to be a part of the Saturday Night Live cast in the mid to late 1980s. They didn't do much for each other, and the rest of their co-stars seemingly didn't like either actor as well. She fought with a lot of people. The credits start to roll, and afterwards, if Link has managed to get here without losing any lives, he will also see Marin in the sky, and she will turn into a bird and fly away. Secrets and side gigs. There are plenty of side quests and Easter eggs in Link's Awakening that are optional. She fought with me the first year. And then the second year she started again, and I said, I'm not going through this with you for another year, John Lovett said in the SNL Oral History, live from New York, before recalling a time when a sketch with Dunn and Dana Carvey ended with those two actors just screaming at each other. Jackson thought Dunn was the single biggest flaw on SNL, well, her and another co-star. An SNL producer gathered the cast of this era for a meeting to pinpoint problems with the show. No one was saying anything, Jackson recalled. I stood up and told everyone what was wrong with the show was those two women. I pointed to Nora and Jan, Hooks, and all the things they did bad. They didn't cooperate in sketches and they slammed doors in people's faces and backbite and backstab and all that. Dunn and Hooks slipped out of the room, and Jackson called out the rest of the cast for not backing her up. They often reveal prizes that enhance Link's abilities or give him an artifact that bestows an advantage. A fun one is the Color Dungeon, originally made for the DX version, to show off, you guessed it, colors. That reportedly prompted Carvey to quip, you didn't hear anyone disagreeing, did you? Apart from various color-based puzzles, if Link navigates to the end, he gets a choice of color from the Fairy Queen, red for added power or blue for increased defense. Or else, he can try his hand at an arcade claw game at the trendy game shop, collect the secret seashells to gain the seashell sword, or relax at the fishing pond. Then there is the trading sequence quest, part of which is mandatory to the main game, but Link can play on, acquiring various items to trade with people for rewards. His prize for completing the trades is the magic magnifying lens that will help him seek out the windfish. Play it again, Link. Side quests may be a great way to add replay value to RPGs, but in the Link's Awakening 2019 version, there is a brand new feature called Chamber Dungeons, a dungeon editor and custom minigame creator. Link is able to save dungeons he's explored and use them to create the new dungeons. To do so, though, he will first have to visit Dampé's shack in Tall Tall Heights and get a crash course in dungeon creation. Dampé also gives Link some bonus challenges and rewards him in unique new tiles for his dungeons. Any cash that Link earns from playing custom dungeons is his to keep. You can use amiibo figurines to make a chamber dungeon, and you can share anything you make. You can even save chamber dungeons to a Zelda amiibo figurine, and share them by tapping the amiibo to a friend's Nintendo Switch system.